Hi there! Today we're going to be making blueberry grunt. Yes, you heard that correctly, blueberry grunt. Some people say blueberry what? Blueberry grunt is a traditional Nova Scotia dessert. I think it's popular all over Atlantic Canada, maybe even down in the New England states. Let me know in the comments if you eat blueberry grunt where you're from. Here we make it as soon as wild blueberries are in season. And it's a very old traditional recipe. It was written about in this cookbook. This is a Bible of Nova Scotia cooking, out of old Nova Scotia kitchens. It was written by Marie Nightingale, a very popular food writer here. And she talks about the history of blueberry grunt. It's one of the earliest desserts made from fruits that grew wild and in abundance. It was common to stew them and add dumplings. So blueberry grunt is stewed blueberries topped with dumplings that are just very simply made with sugar and baking powder and a little bit of cinnamon, grated lemon. She said it was most often referred to as grunt, sometimes a slump or a fungi. It often constituted the entire meal. So we often talk about, why do they call it blueberry grunt? And some people say it's the sound that the blueberries make when they're stewing in the pot. Other people say it's the sound you will make after you eat this dessert. It's very substantial. And yes, in the olden days, they would have just had blueberry grunt for their main meal. Here you can serve up smaller portions, maybe wait a little minute before you serve it after a meal because it is quite filling. But it's wonderful. You can have it hot out of the pot with some ice cream or a little pour of heavy cream over the top. It's just beautiful. And we make it, as I said, when wild blueberries are in season. And if you're not familiar with wild blueberries, they do grow wild here in Nova Scotia and throughout this part of our country in Canada, and also in the northern New England states. Just to compare them with high bush blueberries. High bush are the blueberries that you get everywhere year-round in the grocery store. They're grown throughout the United States, down into South America, and they're huge. And it's nice that we can get blueberries all year round, but because things are available all year round, you know what that means. They tend not to have the same flavor as something that was grown in the wild. So you can compare the size difference. Here's a couple of high bush blueberries. And then here are these nice tiny little, very flavorful wild blueberries. I did not pick these. I got these at the farmer's market. They had huge boxes of them. I like to make things a little easy. And so I bought a box of blueberries and I've frozen half of them for another time. And this is 6 cups that I've measured out so that we can make blueberry grunt. So now I'll show you how it's put together. So I have a big heavy bottom pot on top of the stove. And I have 6 cups of blueberries. I'm just going to tip those into the bowl. That's a lot of blueberries. This feeds a lot of people. But it reheats nicely. I'm just picking out any little stems if you see anything like that. It's no big deal, but just if you happen to spot any, you can just pick them out. Into my blueberries, I have 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and I'm going to add a heaping teaspoon of cornstarch and a 1/4 teaspoon of grated nutmeg. I'm just going to stir that into the sugar. Just hang on a second. It's not cooperating. Just stir that together. That's just to distribute the cornstarch into the sugar and break up any lumps. I'm going to pour that in. And I have a tablespoon of butter, 1/2 cup of water. And I'm going to crank the heat up to high. Give this a stir. This is going to become beautiful and saucy. Just leave that for 5 minutes or so. When it comes up to the boil, we'll turn the heat down a little bit, but we'll just leave that be for a bit while we work on our dumplings. Okay, while our blueberries are stewing on top of the stove, we'll put our dumplings together. So I have 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons of baking powder and ½ teaspoon of cinnamon. I'll just give that a little stir around in my bowl. And then I'm going to take ½ cup of cold butter and cut that in with my pastry blender. This will take a few minutes. And traditionally, blueberry grunt would not have any nutmeg or cinnamon in it, but I kind of like the taste. I'm also going to put in a little bit of freshly grated lemon zest because I like the way it tastes with the blueberries, but 100 years ago they would not have had easy access to lemons all the time. I'm assuming they would have been very expensive, so lemon wouldn't have been traditional, but now we can jazz things up the way we like them. But you certainly don't have to add any lemon at all. I just happen to have one, so I'm going to use it. So just going to grate a little bit of zest. Doesn't have to be a lot, maybe a tablespoon. Doesn't have to be the whole zest from the whole lemon. Just stir that in. And I also have 3/4 cup of milk. So I'm going to make a well, pour that in the middle, and just stir that all around. And I guess to compare dumplings to biscuits, like what you would put in a cobbler, dumplings are just a little wetter. It's still a very thick mixture. Just going to scrape that back in. So that looks pretty good. It's just a nice wet biscuit dough. So while that has been mixed up, now we can check on our blueberry pot and see how the blueberries are coming along. Oh yeah. So they're boiling away. I'm going to turn the heat down to a very low flame. I'm just going to let these simmer for about 10 minutes. So I brought them to the boil. They were probably boiling for maybe 5 minutes while we worked on the dumpling mixture. And now that they've come to a boil, I'm just going to let that cook down for a little bit. So simmer them for about 10 minutes. Put the cover back on and we'll just wait. Okay, our blueberries have been simmering away for about 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. It's not crucial that you be extremely precise with this. You're just cooking down the blueberries, making a nice sauce. They're quite runny. That's how this is. If you wanted it to be a little thicker, we did put some cornstarch in there. You could add a little bit more cornstarch, just make a little slurry, a couple teaspoons of cornstarch with cold water and stir it in and make it a little thicker. But I like this consistency. So the pot is still simmering and we have our dumpling mixture. And I'm going to divide this into about 8 dumplings. So use your spoon and mark half the dough and then half again, and then make each quarter into 2 pieces. Again, doesn't have to be precise. I'm just trying to make sure that I get 8 dumplings. And just take them by spoonfuls and put them all around the pot. Just gently put it in. You ideally would like these little dumplings to all be the same size. If they're not, again, it doesn't matter. They'll all turn out perfect. So how many do I have there? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we'll have 9 dumplings. So little bonus dumpling. One thing that's important is having something to absorb some of the steam. So take a tea towel that you don't care much about. This one has snowmen on it. Just lay that over the top. Put your cover on and set a timer for 15 minutes. Have your heat down as low as it'll go. Bring those corners up if you've got a gas stove so you don't catch them on fire. And just let that cook away for 15 minutes and resist the urge to lift the top off. You want this to steam and those dumplings to cook through. And in 15 minutes we'll take the cover off and hopefully we'll have nice puffy dumplings and delicious blueberry grunt. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. Now the moment of truth. How is this going to be? So try and take the cover off very carefully. Don't burn yourself with that steam. Open the pot away from you. Wow. Very nice. See how the dumplings have all puffed and the blueberries are grunting away under the dumplings. And you can let that cool off a little bit, or you can start serving it up right now. It will cool in the bowl. It wouldn't be blueberry grunt if someone didn't burn their mouth while they were eating it. I'll just show you how one of these dumplings looks. It's either they're puffy and the sauce is quite nice and thick now. Oh, and the smell of blueberries and nutmeg and cinnamon, so good. You want a fair amount of blueberries so that you can soak them all up with that dumpling. Now, some people might like 2 dumplings, but I'm just going to try 1 for now. So this would be perfect with vanilla ice cream. The other traditional thing is just to take a little pitcher of heavy cream. You could whip it and make whipped cream, or you can just pour it over the mixture. And let's have a little taste. So nice. It's still very, very hot. And this is why ice cream is a good idea, because that way it's not so hot that you're going to burn your mouth. So good. The dumplings are perfectly cooked, steamed inside, and the blueberries are saucy and a little bit spicy from the nutmeg. And there's a little bit of a hint of lemon in the dumplings from the lemon zest. And it's just a glorious summer dessert. And after you serve it to your family, everyone's going to have blue teeth and tongues. And it's fun to stick your tongue out at each other. That's another game that kids like to play after eating blueberry grunt. So I hope you'll try this recipe. Please let me know if you have blueberry grunt or something similar in your family tradition this summer. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.